So basically, my background is in design, branding, innovation, product design, and graphic design. My co-founder's background is in something called physical computing, so building large-scale interactive installations, objects, spaces. So the business is really kind of us in a box, I guess you could say. I was trying to find an image of my son to have another picture of a young person, but I guess the reason we started the business was a few reasons. One, we were both teaching, and we're just really aware that education tends to not move fast enough to keep up with the pace of technology, and tends to present technology as acquisition of skills and not about problem solving, creativity, tech as part of problem solving. And that was just really frustrating for us. The other thing is we had a child, and as you can imagine, there's nothing like having a child that's born with an iPad and an amazing amount of technology to make you question and think about the way technology is going to play a role in their lives. And what we decided kind of very early on was that I absolutely want my son to play games. I want him to be a part of that culture, but I want him to learn how to make his first game before he actually becomes a gamer. I want him to understand how it works, and that was really kind of where the kind of business stemmed from. So this really just outlines that we identified essentially a problem. It's a problem in the world around our relationship to tech. We don't see it as something we can do. They're hermetically sealed, they're closed, they're not really accessible. And then there's this problem with parents and educators. A lack of experience and time really makes it so that it's this fearful place. The amount of parents I meet that are questioning how much screen time is okay, how much should their kids be playing on iPads and different kinds of screens, it's a lot because it's a space that we don't fully understand. And then there's young people who are essentially born fearless and creative, but don't really have access to tools and things that can really help them understand how to tinker, create, take things apart, put them together. And there's a lot of progress happening in schools around technology being implemented across different places. But iPads aren't going to solve the problem. And I mean, this may be very controversial, but I go to certain education conferences, and you leave those conferences thinking that the bigger your screen, like the more your kids are going to learn. And that worries me. And so these were the things that were kind of playing in our world when we really started to build this organization. So I'm going to play this video because I think it really brings to life what we're building. The real point of what we're trying to do is to really spark the creative imagination of young people using hands-on tech. No two kid is the same. Kids are going to get excited about very different experiences, and we want to present a very wide range of technology to them. So as you can see from the video, this is not just about the screen. This is about, essentially, I would say STEAM activities. So science, technology, arts, maths, engineering, but through all different kinds of making experiences. The kits really require on and off the screen, on and off the tech, and we think that learning happens around the kitchen table and in the classroom. We don't think this is just education with a capital E. We actually never call our business an education business. We call ourselves a learning business because we think the boundaries of education are breaking down and in a really positive way. we design our kits around what we call everyday themes. So gardening, cycling, gaming, music, fashion. These themes come from big research projects, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our design process. Because we think if you lead with what you can do, it's not really about the tech. The tech is a means to get there, and that's really how we like to present acquisition of these skills. And we have some very clear principles around how we design our kits. So we really want to design iconic gadgets, so things that don't look like the world of tech we have now, that feel like the world that you're a part of creating. We want to design our kits for a fair price. So our kits range from 15 to 65 pounds. I can do a whole session on our production capacity. We have a mini factory in Hackney around really trying to keep prices down because it's really hard. All the learning happens through doing, so it will never be didactic. It will always be through learning and making. And accessibility, which will be something we work on probably forever as a business. How do we lower the barrier of entry without making it too easy that you're actually not learning anymore? Our kits range from things like electrodough, so electronic Play-Doh, where you actually make conductive dough. You make LEDs turn on, buzzers buzz, motors spin, using something as easy as dough. And the kits also range in age range. So 4 is electrodough, and we say 4 to 104 because we have a wide range of people using them, but 4 to about 13 is the age range. Thirsty Plant Kit, where you make your moisture sensor out of plaster and nails. It's solar powered, and when your plant needs watering, and LED flashes to tell you to water your plants. Usually the first time a family or a young person has ever held a sensor, and they made it themselves out of plaster, which is a really interesting experience. Speaker kit, you make your own amplifier, then you design and construct speakers out of anything. You can make lots of things with your Ultimaker, or you could use anything from an old shoe to a cardboard box. And then things like the gamer kit, where you actually make, play, code, and invent your own games. So you make your own game console, then you play 2 games it comes with, Pong and Snake, which were programmed by a 15-year-old that did a work placement with us, and then you learn how to actually program and invent your own games. And this kit was acquired by the Museum of Modern Art as part of its permanent collection last year, and it's shortlisted for Design of the Year at the Design Museum, so go vote because it's exciting. But the thing that really makes us really excited about this is that for us, design is something as exciting as being inside of a museum, but being used by a local school in Hackney. And for us, that's really how design is most useful. So beyond kits, this is really about content and resources. So the content ranges from what is electricity, all the way to what's a circuit, where are circuits in the world, how do I make circuits, and here's a bunch of instructions on how to do that. So the content is really wide and varied. How-to manuals, online videos, again, because different learners learn in different ways, and so we'll want to make sure there's a wide range of different kinds of tools for learners to use. And in the end, the collection, the ecosystem we're trying to build is really about kits, content, a portfolio for learning and sharing, and over time, insights to really help parents, gifters, and educators to be able to track where kids are interested, where their passions lie. Some people are going to get really excited about programming. Some are going to get excited about making sensors and making electronic dough, chemistry, science. And we don't want to pigeonhole people into one area that they have to understand. We want to see where the natural interests of young people really kind of come out. So the design process is really important to us. We do something called user-centered design, which is really what it sounds like. It's about putting the user at the center of the process and letting the design kind of come out of that insight. So we usually start with gathering insights. And insights could be gathered everything from, we've done this actually very recently, putting a lot of people's kits in the hands of young people and seeing where the pain points are to really understand how our kits fit within the marketplace of tools and gadgets. And that really allows us as a business to understand the context for which we're designing in, both from a market position but also from a user position, which is really important for us, and it brings that insight into the business. We prioritize the opportunities, which really is about mapping the objectives to themes that have come out of those insights, use cases, our product roadmap, etc. And this really helps us to understand, quite frankly, where to say no, when to not develop something new, when to really help a product be more targeted to a particular use case, which as designers is probably one of the hardest things to do, is to not make something new. I think we will probably always have that problem, but a really important part of our process is to do that. We start with impact from the beginning. So we've been exploring something called the efficacy framework, which is something that Pearson's has started to use. We've simplified it for our own use, but basically means at the beginning of a project or a product development cycle, everyone on the team, whether that be a product developer or a marketing person, starts with what we're trying to achieve, and we work backward. I'm running out of time, so I'll go quickly. We design with and for our users. All of our products are tested multiple times with users. We have workshops, we invite parents, we send product out. In the last product that we've been through a cycle, we sent it to 300 young people and families and educators across the UK to gather insights. We're tracking data right now on how it's being used. This really means that the way we develop kits is based on real insights and real data from our users, which is just fundamental to how we want to build a business. And then this allows us to then iterate, design, and test content. And this is a very iterative process. And because we're making kits, not hermetically sealed products, we can iterate our products, which is really exciting for us. It means that we can evolve them, we can help them connect to other things in the world. And as this space is changing so fast, it allows us to really make sure that the products we're creating are not only connecting to the wider world of learning, but connecting to the wider world that kids are really interested in, which is really important to us. And then refining that user experience. Again, this is not just about physical, this is about digital as well, and making sure that the digital experience is creating the three kind of areas that we focus on is kind of success. So I've made something, it works, I have confidence around it. The second one is around I've learned skills. I can share those skills and I can talk about the skills I've learned. And the last one is I want to just go off piece. I want to hack, modify, customize, make it my own. And those are really the three journeys that we try to deliver to. And very quickly, so just a bit of impact. So we sold 30,000 kits across 3 channels in the last 18 months. We just did some big research around our customer base, and you have to sell a lot in order to really have a sense of what's happening. So finally, we have enough people that we can actually understand. So 60% of our kits were bought for girls, which is just amazing to us. And we have some insights on why that is, but we think it's because it's about 21st century craft, and there's a tangibility to the way things are being built. And in September, or now October, I think, and I won't go into too much detail, one of the new kits we're developing with the BBC will go out to 1 million 12-year-olds, which is pretty exciting for us. And if you want to know any more about the microbit, which some people might know, I'd be happy to tell you. And the last thing I'll say is, I think one of my favorite stories is some of the work we do with the Princess Trust. We have learning partnerships with the Princess Trust, Code Club, Teen Tech, the Scouts is building right now, which is pretty exciting. But we walked into a workshop with a bunch of girls doing a DIY gamer workshop. And these girls are hard to reach young people that have basically are no longer in education. And they walked in, they were pretty upset because they wanted to go to the prison with the rest of the young people that were supposed to be doing work that day. They had just done some work programming websites and were not interested in doing anything around tech. So we walked in, we demoed some of our kits, and then we began to tell them what they were going to make. So we showed them the gamer and we said, we're going to be making game consoles. We're then going to be programming and designing our own games. And the first thing one of the girls said is, this shit is sick. And right when she said that, I think all of us realized that those are the kinds of responses we want to get. We don't want to get, I'm really excited to program, I'm really excited to do this, because those that are excited are going to be excited anywhere, and they're hacking Minecraft on the weekends because they're bored at school. What we really want to do is design things that are awesome, and that when you open the box, you're so excited, and you may not know what it does, but you want to make something with it because you're excited about what it might do. So I think I'll end there. Yes, because that's a good place to end.